Good morning. It's music time with Mrs. Rogers. Today we're going to talk about how sound is made and vibrations of sound. And then we are going to look at guitar skills today, okay? I promised 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade by the end of the year we would cover just a little bit of it. So if you have a guitar, go pause the video, go get it out, dust it off, and bring it over. And if you don't, that's okay too. Just watch and you can learn a little bit just by watching on what to do. Here we go. How sound is made. We're going to talk about that real quick this morning. All sound is vibration. Okay, every sound that we can hear is a vibration. Vibrations are a rapid motion back and forth, and vibrations are used in every instrument, guitar, piano, singing, violin. Every sound that we can hear is from vibrations. Okay, sound. Instruments can make different sounds, both high and low. The faster the vibration, the higher the sound. The slower the vibration, the lower the sound. Okay, this is going to be helpful to us today when we look at guitars. So, the faster the vibration, the higher the sound. So here at the bottom is an example of what a higher sound wave would be. Okay, they moves faster along. If it's moving slower, it's a lower sound to our ears. Okay, vibrations travel. Once something starts to vibrate and make sound, those waves travel through the air. It starts where the sound is made and then goes out, usually in a circle or a cone. So here's an example of a ripple effect in the water where you drop a stone in the middle and the ripples go out for around the stone. That's how sound travels. Okay, the sound starts and then it travels through the air. Then how do we hear those vibrations? Well, that's up to our ear and our brain. Inside the ear is the eardrum. When the vibration hits the eardrum, it sends a message to the brain. And then the brain takes those vibrations and translate them into sounds that we recognize. Okay, here's a picture of the ear. This is the outside of your ear, and here's the inside of your ear. And there's 3 little bones that are very important in this process too, really small ones. The eardrum here is what receives the sound, and it vibrates with the sound waves that come in. And then the little bones here, they move and change the sound from vibration into the impulse that the brain then can interpret. Okay, and here's the inner ear over here. All right, so that's how we hear the sound. Quiz time. This is when I'd play you some high and low sounds. We'd look at some of the ways that different instruments make different sounds. And we would see on our strings, I'm going to show you here in a minute, that the strings on the guitar, you can see them vibrate and how they make their sound. All right, so let's look at the guitar next. All right. Guitar, let's take a look. First thing, let's learn a little about the actual parts of the guitar, and we'll talk about how many strings that it has, and then we'll try to get to a place where we can look at tuning the guitar today, and then next week we'll look at how to make different notes and maybe try to make our first chord next week too, okay? All right, so the guitar, there are different kinds of guitars. There's electric guitars, there's acoustic guitars, classical guitars, bass guitars, 12-string guitars, lots of different kinds, but they all have very similar parts and they all work in the same manner. They work the same way. So what I typically play in class, mine is called a classical guitar, and you'll notice that the pegs come out behind the top up here, and mine has nylon strings, okay, and the shape of its body looks like this. Okay, so this part we call the body. Okay, this is the neck. Think about it just like a person, you know, this is the neck right there. Here we've got the head of the guitar, and that's where all of our tuning pegs are. This is how we'll tune the guitar. The strings are connected to each peg, so one string goes to one peg, and that peg controls the pitch of the string. Okay, the strings are then connected down at the bottom. depending on different type of guitar, how they're connected. Mine are just run through holes. Some go into the guitar with little pins that hold the string in place. So different guitars are put together different ways. This circle here is our sound hole. That's the opening in the front. And remember we were talking about vibration, okay? The string vibrates when I pluck it with my finger or with a pick. It vibrates. The sound resonates inside of the guitar and comes out. So the sound waves are moving out of the guitar. The body of the guitar helps to shape and to send that sound that the strings are making. I'm going to come real close and see if I can get it to show you what the string looks like. I'm going to pluck the string just with my thumb, and you can see that it vibrates. It's moving back and forth. That's the rapid motion. Okay. The motion of the string sends the sound waves into motion in the guitar where it resonates and then comes back out as sound we can hear. Okay, so if you've got a guitar, try a couple of the strings and look at them and see how they vibrate back and forth to make the sound. All right, so we've got the body, the neck, the sound hole, the strings, the pegs. This is the bridge. The bridge is where the strings are attached, okay? The fretboard, frets are these small metal strips on the guitar, okay? That helps us change from one note to another, okay? So the fret is the space between a line. So this space right here, we'd call it the first fret. The first space here, and the line is like its little boundary, okay? So frets down the guitar. You'll notice as they go, they get the distance between them gets smaller, okay? And how the guitar works is as we play a string, okay? When we push it down, we are shortening the string, making it shorter. That's gonna make the sound go higher. Because remember we talked about higher sounds are the smaller instruments and they're the faster sound waves, faster vibrations. So watch what happens as I take just one finger. Okay, I'm moving it down one fret at a time and the music note is going higher and higher and higher. So here's the lowest string, the biggest one. Sits on the top this way, but it's our lowest sounding string, okay? There it is. Now listen as I shorten it. Okay, I'm making that note go higher and higher as I shorten the string. So each string makes a note. Let's see what those are, okay? Each one makes a note. Now each music note is a specific sound wave, okay? So like on piano, if you push down a key, it makes a certain sound wave that makes a certain note, okay? And as you're singing, you're gonna sing a note, you want that to make the same sound. So think about as we've practiced singing different songs, we want our notes to sound the same as a group. That's because we want that same sound wave to come through for everybody. If I'm singing up high, but you're singing down low, our sound wave together might not sound so good. But if we practice singing the same sound, then it makes a clear sound and song for people to listen to. So what we have to do first is get each string to be the right note, the right vibration sound, okay? And here's how we do it, okay? If you have a tuner, okay, y'all have seen me use mine in class. I have a little box tuner. There's also different tuners that might clip on the end of your guitar. You can also find a free phone app, okay? There's all kinds of them, different guitar tuning apps that will help you get your guitar to the right notes. Now, if you have a piano or a keyboard that's in tune, if your piano's in tune, you can tune your guitar to the piano as well, okay? But let's talk about what strings, what should they be tuned to? That's the first thing we gotta know, okay? There's 6 strings on a guitar, most guitars, 6, okay? We're gonna start with this one that sits on the top if you're holding it. So you should be holding your guitar with your left hand is on the fretboard, okay? And your right hand is usually your strummer. Now, if you're left-handed, okay, some people are, you can either restring or get a left-handed guitar, okay, where the strings are going to be the opposite. But I have several left-handed friends and they play it the same way that I do. They've just taught their hands to work in the same way with the same strings. So I say try it like you got it, okay? Here are the strings we need to tune our guitar to, okay? So here is your lowest sounding string. It's the thickest one. And on the guitar, when you're looking down, it sits on the top up here, okay? So this string we want to tune to an E. It's a lower E, okay? And this is what an E sounds like, okay? The next one up is going to be an A, and we just keep going. D, G, then B, and then another E. Now this E is the thinnest string, and it makes the highest sound. Okay, so we have our low E and our high E. Okay, both of those are E's, they just make a different sound. Now, I have a funny saying, and a lot of guitarists use the same one. Okay, now you can make up your own little acronym to help you remember what that is. And it goes like this. Okay, here we go. It says Eddie, 8, dynamite, goodbye, Eddie. Okay, Eddie, 8, dynamite, goodbye, Eddie. That's just a funny way to remember those string names and what we need to tune them to. Okay, so my guitar is already in tune, but we're going to take a look at Matthew's guitar because it might be a little more like the one that you have at home. If a guitar hasn't been played in a while or ever, or if it has new strings, you will need to tune it, and it may be way out of tune, okay? So here's the lowest string, okay? I'm going to use my tuner, and I want to look for the note E. Hold that up for me, please. Okay? And the E also on my tuner needs to be green, okay? That's telling me it's the exact sound that I need it to be. Okay, so why don't you hold that way up there close to the camera. You have to get closer so they can see it, hopefully. Okay, so I can't see this. So see how it's green, but it's just kind of close to red. So what I do is I follow my string up, make sure I'm turning the right peg, the correct peg that the string is attached to, okay? And I'm going to turn it just a little bit at a time, just a little bit. What I'm trying to do is either raise or lower that note to make it an E, okay? So watch this. If I turn it, listen to the sound. It got higher. It gets lower just a little bit, so you gotta really listen close. Okay, so it's green, it's an E, that's what I want. So I'm gonna do the next one. Okay, look at the tuner and tell him what letter it says that it is, what note it says.
A.
Let me see. On the tuner? No, look at the tuner.
It says G.
It says it's a G. But what do we need it to be? Eddie, 8. So we need it to be an A. So I'm going to turn my peg until it gets to be an A. Now, these pegs are real tough to turn, and yours may be too. Just make sure you're turning it just a little bit at a time. You don't want to turn it real hard, real fast, because it's going to stretch that string out. And if we do it too fast, it might pop the string, okay? It may not, it shouldn't, but if the strings are really old, or you've got it on a strange note than what it should be, then you won't be able to tune it. And if the string breaks, you can replace them. But that takes a little extra work too. Okay, so I'm just making sure I've got it. It says it's an A and that it's on green, which tells me it's the right frequency, the right sound of that note. Okay, so I'm going to do these next ones pretty quick so I can show you something else. I'm going to take this one. Ooh, right now it says it's a C, but I need it to be the note Eddie ate dynamite. So I got to raise it higher. You can hear it making that noise. It's just that string adjusting and the wood of the guitar adjusting. As I tighten it, I'm adding more tension to it. Okay, so now show them. That one says it's a D and it's green. Can you hold it up there? Okay, that's what we want. So Eddie ate dynamite. Now what's next? This string is a G. Double check where it's strung to, because some people when they do them, they might do them a different pattern. So this one now says it's an E, but I have to get it to a G. So you think about your music alphabet, So I'm going E, now it's coming up to an F, F sharp. Now it's a G. Okay, keep going. Here's Eddie ate dynamite, good. Bye should be a B. Okay, I've got it to a B, and it's green. Last one is also an E. My tuner says, whoop, that's a D. I gotta raise it up. Now every time you pick up your guitar, you're gonna need to tune it, okay? It's one of those things about guitars. The strings stretch if it gets hot or cold, or you move it from inside to outside. Sometimes you bump the pegs and that changes it. Sometimes the strings adjust because they're real sensitive. Strings are to changes in temperature and pressure inside and outside. So now we've got it tuned, and now each note should sound, the right note should be Eddie ate dynamite, good, bye, Eddie. Okay, so if you've got it tuned, if you didn't catch all that, you can watch it again, okay? Or there's also some real great free YouTube videos too that show you how to tune your guitar. And like I said, if you need a tuner, you can find a free app, okay, on your phone or iPad. All right, so now that we've got your guitar in tune, let's look at how we're gonna make some music with it, okay? So remember I said the space between each of these little lines is a fret, okay? For guitar, we usually start out with using 3 fingers, okay? And we give them a number, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. Yes, you can learn to use number 4, pinky, as it goes on as you need to. But the beginning things we use are these 3 fingers right here. Okay, so we can take a finger and put it on a fret. Okay, and I usually teach my students a little finger warm-up, I call it, that just gets you used to using those fingers and checking out the different strings and making different notes with it. Okay, so here's one I do. Take your high E, okay, it's your smallest, your thinnest. Give it a strum. Okay, there's your E. Now you take finger number 1, you put it on fret number 1 on that thinnest string and push it down until you change the note. So now let it go. So go back and forth, push it down and lift it up. Okay, so as you push your finger down, it makes that note go up to an F. That's the next music alphabet one up. Now, then you do finger number 2. So here's your 1, here's your 2, that's your middle one. Okay, on fret number 2. and it goes up again. Okay, then number 3 on fret number 3. Okay, so all together you'd go. And use your 3 on your 3rd fret. On your 3rd. There you go. So you can rest them on there and just lift them up as you go. Okay. So try out those. Then you just work your way down each string and do the same. So then try it on the B string. So you give it a strum. Now you do finger 1, fret 1. Finger 2, fret 2. Finger 3, fret 3. Okay, so now you've got all of those notes. And you keep working it. Okay, it's just a little warm-up, getting all of those fingers working on each fret, feeling what it feels like to move it along on the strings, okay? Now, next week we're going to talk about what notes we're making, okay? Each fret moves the note up by a half step. So we're going to look at that next week, and we'll use what we've learned about the piano, what we know about vibration and sound to help us know what notes we're making on the guitar. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope you're having a great week. If you've got a guitar, practice a little bit, okay, with your fingers, working on the finger warm-up there and getting it in tune, which is an important part. All right, thank you. We'll see you next week for a little more about